The cover of the NAACP's official magazine features Justice Antonin Scalia with a Confederate bandana. So the question is, did they go too far? Why or why not? So let me give you guys some of the backstory here real fast. Why did they make this cover? Well, it was in direct response to a comment that Scalia made about the Voting Rights Act. He called it a perpetuation of racial entitlement. I cringe just when I repeat it. So those of you who know the history of the Voting Rights Act know how profoundly ridiculous that comment is. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 ended open and legal discriminatory practices against African Americans, things like poll taxes and literacy tests, which were just given to minorities. So if you're a minority, well, you need to prove that you're able to vote. Here, take this test. Here, pay this poll tax. Where white people, no, go right ahead. You're a good white male. You can go ahead and vote, no problem. Also, it solidified Brown versus Board of Education with desegregating the schools. It made the states that had openly racist histories, they now needed to get clearance from the federal government before making any changes to their electoral systems. Why did they do that? Because they knew, hey, there's been a history of these state governments openly discriminating. It's legal racism that they had on the books. So the Fed stepped in and said, not on our watch, not going to allow it. So what was the Voting Rights Act? It was a solution to a horrible problem. But that's not how Antonin Scalia sees it. To him, just acknowledging that there was a race issue in the South, which is undeniable, is reverse racist. And it means that black people are racially entitled because they get a special place in the law books that protects them. See, here's the thing about the way Scalia thinks and the way a lot of far right-wing kooks think, the nut jobs. They think, well, if everything is equal, then therefore any law that even mentions race is racist or reverse racist in their minds. But that's a very childish way of viewing reality, because we know that the races just flat out haven't been treated equally throughout history. There was slavery, and then there was separate but equal, and then there was open discrimination. And then finally the government said, enough, we're not going to allow that. So to Scalia, he looks at things like affirmative action, which is an attempt to make an inherently racist system, a subconsciously racist system, more fair. By saying, hey, look, affirmative action worked well for white Americans for hundreds of years, so let's just try to reverse it a little bit and make it so black people get an equal opportunity, right? No, Scalia looks at that and says, oh my God, how unbearable is that? That means that black people are the racist ones, and they have racial entitlement. So, with all that being said, did they go too far by putting the bandana on him? Pfft, I don't think so at all, man. And you're going to hear the right-wingers scream and cry and play victim, and oh my God, you're going over the top, and that's too far, yada, 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 yada. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. If somebody actually believes and goes as far as to say that the Voting Rights Act is a perpetuation of racial entitlement and that black people have had their boot on the neck of the downtrodden white man throughout history, that person is either an idiot or they're using hyperbole, right? Which is, I think, possibly the case with Scalia. So why can't we use hyperbole to say, look, I'm just saying you agree with the people who would wave the Confederate flag? You don't understand. They never use the argument, we are racist and we admit it. No, in the South, they use the states' rights argument. They use the argument that Scalia is making, that we're not the racist, they're the racist, because they're the ones that want this special place in the law books. They say it's got nothing to do, we want freedom. They think they're in favor of freedom. But to the southern states in the 60s, they defined freedom as the freedom for me to keep black people down. So they didn't view it as we are violating the freedom of them and their rights. They viewed it as don't take away my right to push them down and violate their rights. Look, all the evidence says Scalia agrees with them. So if he agrees with them, yeah, call him the fuck out for what he is.